Welcome to a bonus edition of Bootstrappers, specifically for my friends in the property management industry. You know, we travel around the country at conventions talking to each other about what's important to us and what we can do to make our company better. I think in this show, we made it pretty clear that we think that one of the main things that you can do is have a structured meeting system, and we use Traction. I think there's other ones out there like One Page and everything, but we importantly need to know specifically what we're keeping track of. And so there's a couple of sources for this information. One of them is just the experience that I've had over the course of time, the things that we've determined roll up into a successful week, month, quarter, and year. And then NARPM, which is the National Association of Residential Property Managers, has published in 2019, I think, it's relatively new, the Financial Metrics Guide. And this is a good reason to be a NARPM member.
It really is.
Because getting these financial metrics down, would you just say it was the biggest game changer for Wistar Group?
Yeah, in the recent past, it has made all the difference in the world. So I've created a report in Rent Manager, which is the software we use. It's customized, and it keeps track of things like so the revenue per unit, the profit per unit, and the PM DLER, which I think is probably the most important one. DLER.
Explain that for people.
The direct labor expense ratio. So you want to have, our industry standard is about 2 to 2.5. It depends, which is what you find out in this, in the Financial Metrics Guide at NARPM. And so you just measure your company on where you are relative to the industry standards. I have it broken down for the property management team. I have it broken down for the maintenance team.
Can you just get more granular about?
So yeah, what we want to do with the DLER, you want to make sure basically that you have if you have $1 of expenses in maintenance labor, then you want to make sure that you have at least $2 of revenue.
Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful.
So you want to have in maintenance, you probably want to have a 1.75 to a 2.0. We have a 2.4. And so that just gives you a quick way of identifying what it is, whether or not you're succeeding with the anchor of the industry standards. And so then there's other ones like management, sales, and labor, and just the total labor percentage. Which ends up being in the industry about 59%. So 59% of our labor of our revenue is gobbled up by labor.
And that's the industry standard?
That's the industry standard, which I think is too high. You know, if I'm
You think you could get it down?
It's got to be lower than that. That's an average of small, medium, and large companies. So if you're a larger company, you've got to have it lower than that. Then there's other ones like your facilities expenses ratio to income. And, you know, an applications fee percent income, that's a big one. Leasing fees is a percent of income. You want to have, for instance, leasing fees, you want to have about, the industry standard is 13%. We're at 16.35. That's a good number to know. Like, are we succeeding at least being average?
And just a key thing about this is people look at these standards and they always say, well, it has to vary by part of the country that you live in or a type of housing that you live in.
It does not.
It doesn't. Mm-mm. According to when they did the research to come up with these standards, none of that had any bearing on these metrics.
So also the KPIs that we check out every single week, which I think might be useful. And I'd like any feedback from anybody because I can't pretend that we're doing it exactly right. So if you have other information that you want to share with the group, please do. But vacancy, you want to check your vacancy on a weekly basis so you can identify when it's dipping. Occupancy fee billing, make sure that this necessitates a cadence so that every week you're doing this billing, which is part of, I think, a successful company. Renewal fee billing, last week's maintenance billing, the time billed ratio, which is basically the percent of time that your maintenance technicians are billing their time. You want to have probably about 90%.
receivables.
Get those meetings down.
Yeah,
those morning meetings, because people can hang around the office for a long time.
Yeah, get them out of there. Right.
You guys.
But that includes training and those weekly meetings and all that stuff. So you want to be around 90%. You want to check that somebody's working on receivables, making sure you're getting the payments back from your owner so that one of them doesn't get out of hand. And definitely the greater than 30 days overdue. So that's the leadership. Those are the leadership KPIs. Those are the ones that we go over on a weekly basis because we've identified those as the most important things that we can identify on top of those financial metrics I mentioned to be successful. I hope that helps. This is Bootstrappers.